But just advise that the meeting's being recorded, please.
Welcome, councillors, to tonight's meeting for the 26th of July 2022. I declare the meeting open, and acknowledgement of country, please, Councillor Bowditch.
Thank you. Imagine a time when the wind and the rivers and the land providing meaning and the teaching platform for the governance of the community, where we acknowledge and pass down from the elders and the tribes and the community that we go forth and provide the law of governance. At this point, I'd like to acknowledge the land, especially the land and our owner, God, who looks after us by army up in the sky and gives us everything that we need to do and go forward. I'd like to acknowledge the elders, past, present and emerging coming through. I'd like to also acknowledge recognise the strong ongoing connection of First Nations people of the lands and the water where we do our works and their commitment to the caring in the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Bowditch. Councillor Marshall with the City.
From whom comes every good and perfect gift. We give thanks to the blessings you bestow upon us in this Shire. Grant to those who hold office in this council the spirit, justice and truth, of wisdom and charity, that mindful of our responsibility and of those needs of those we serve, we may promote the true welfare of your people, exercise wisely and gratefully the authority committed to us, and advance the common good, though that through Jesus Christ our Lord.
Amen. Okay, please be seated. Before we start, we do have apologies and applications for leave of absence by councillors, and also by councillors. I have an apology from Councillor Woodruff and a audio-visual link by Councillors Barry and Dunn. Could I have someone to move that motion?
I'll move that.
By Councillor Douglas and seconded by Councillor Bowditch. All those in favour, please raise your hand. Declare that motion carried, and move on to the next item, confirmation of the minutes of the previous council meeting. Just a reminder that councillors, if you can push your button when we're speaking or moving a motion. So I have someone to move that motion.
Also move.
Councillor Sculls, seconded by someone second. Councillor Lecky. Thank you, Councillor Lecky. Now commit that motion. All those in favour, please raise a hand. So that motion carried. Sorry, there is a delay with online, so we just have to slow the process down. Disclosure of any pecuniary or non-pecuniary interests.
Starting where?
Starting with over to my left-hand side with Councillor Sculls.
Okay, I have two minor, insignificant, both relating to the Workers Club, 911 and 913, just that the president of the Workers Club is a personal friend.
Councillor Marshall.
I have a non-pecuniary interest in 9.1.3 employment zones, as I have a property on Maitland Street.
Thank you, Councillor Marshall. Councillor.
Yes, Mr Mayor, I'd like to declare an insignificant non-pecuniary interest in 9.1.3 as well, employment zone reform implementation. I own a property in the B2 zone.
Thank you, Councillor McNeil. Councillor Mahajan.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I having a pecuniary interest, item number 9.13, employment zone reform implementation. I own the business and hold the property in that area.
Thank you, Councillor Mahajan. Councillor Lecky. No, Neil. Councillor Drayton, Neil. Councillor Douglas.
Yeah, I declare a insignificant non-pecuniary on 9.1.3, page 36, the employment zone. I'm actually employed by the Wanneroo Lands Council, who's based there. The other one is 9.1.4, page 84, business law on waste grants. I declare a pecuniary interest in that. My son owns Supply Solutions.
Thank you, Councillor Douglas. Councillor Bowditch.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have a insignificant non-procuring interest on 9.1.1, page 8, alterations to the additions at Muswell Workers Club. I've read and been involved with some reporting on the stabilisation of the riverbank that backs onto the Workers Club.
Okay. Any online? No, shakes the head. Thank you, councillors.
No.
Okay. Mayoral minute, there's nil. Public participation, we have one person in public. We have nobody now in public participation. We did have one attending, but we've been told, advised that they won't be attending now. Which moves us on to business arising from the previous meeting. Anyone previous meeting? Okay, we'll move on to 9 business specific reports. 9.1.1. I don't believe anyone said that they had an issue with this one in relation to leaving the room. It's insignificant. We have a resolution there from council, sorry, a recommendation from council that the DA7 2017 alterations and additions to the Muswell and District Workers Club, compliance with car park. Council informs Muswell and District Workers Club that the request to defer construction of the off-street car park in compliance with DA 18/2017 is rejected, and to request council officers to resume compliance action with the intent of achieving a timely resolution to the matter. Do I have Councillor Drayton?
Got to.
Yep, just like, yeah.
Like to put an alternative motion than the motion you've just put. For the reason being, we've received we've received a letter today that was only dated Friday last week. So it's only been one business day between the date council received it and today. We've received it just upon arrival tonight at the meeting, which for me raises a number of concerns. It appears as though there are a number of issues still to work through with council, between the Workers Club and council. And I put that the motion be deferred until those talks, and particularly a number of the issues raised by the Workers Club in the letter dated 22 July be discussed and rectified.
I'd like to second that.
We have a mover and a seconder. Mark, I just want to seek clarification with through the acting general manager, with the planning department. This put us in any liability moving forward if we defer it for a month?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We understand that's not the case.
Okay, no problem. So it's moved by Councillor Drayton and seconded by Councillor Bowditch. Do we have anyone else to speak to or against this motion or the motion? I commit Councillor Drayton's deferral for this item till the next meeting. All those in favour, please raise a hand. Declare that motion carried. Item 9.1.2. There's a recommendation there. Council grants consent to DA 2022-40 for the subdivision of 1 lot into 3 lots at 15 Crinoline Street, Denman, subject to the recommended conditions of consent included in attachment B. And 2, council supports the request to waive 7.11 contributions in relation to this development application.
I agree with passing that. Excuse me. I concur with the officer's recommendation and put forward as a motion.
Thank you, Councillor Sculls. Seconded by Councillor Marshall. Do I have anyone that wishes to speak to or against this motion or motion? Anyone? No, okay, I commit that motion from councillor Scholes and moved by seconded by councillor Marshall. All those in favour, if you could please raise a hand. Declare that motion carried. 9.1.3, and I'll just allow time for those that are conflicted have to leave the room to do so before anyone speaks.
Mr. Mayor. Sorry. Okay. All right. Mr. Mayor, I propose an alternate motion to that recommended. Basically, it reads the same as section A, which is council authorises the general manager to make a submission on council's behalf that requests that the New South Wales Department of Planning and Environment, which includes the registered clubs as permitted use in the E3 productivity support zone. Number 2, amends the local provision active street footage clause to apply to selected locations in the E2 commercial core, Muswellbrook, rather than the E1 local centre zone. 3, continues to discuss options with council staff on permitting existing retail stores in the E3 productivity support zone to continue to be permitted uses. 4, includes shop top housing as a permitted use in the E3 commercial centre zone. 5, includes pubs as a permitted use in the E3 productivity support zone, and the use of the word pubs, you would like to do the public houses, might be a more appropriate term. 6, signage as a permitted use in the E3 productivity support zone, and a new bit which is rather pertinent, which is B. Council requests that staff consult with property owners in the Flanders Avenue, Muswellbrook, on an option to rezone their land from B2 local centre to R1 general residential, with results to be reported back to council.
Just clarification for the minutes. Active street frontage, that's what you want to say? You said footage at the time.
Where are we again?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, just want to clarify for the
Yes,
minutes.
sorry.
It was amended.
I said footage, did I?
Yeah, that's it.
My apologies.
Just to clarify for the minutes. Okay, so we have that motion in front of us on the screen, councillors. As you can see, I need someone, if someone wishes to second that, Councillor McNeil. So it's moved by Councillor Scholes as a new amendment and seconded by Councillor McNeil. Do I have anyone to speak against the motion 2 or 4 to add anything to the amended motion? Commit that motion. All those in favour, if you can please raise a hand. Sorry, yep, that's great. Thank you, councillors online. And then declare that motion carried. I'll bring the councillors back in from outside.
Oh, no, yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah.
She voted.
Councillor Douglas is left, okay. So as the councillors move in to take the seats, brings us to 9.1.4, which is the business forum waste. It's a recommendation, the council endorses the recommendations contained in this report to approve Supply Solutions Group Proprietary Limited application for $5,397 and 2, approve Polly & Co.'s application for $3,419.12. Do I have someone to move?
Yes, so moved.
Thank you, Councillor McNeil.
Yep.
Someone to second it, Councillor Marshall. A reminder to councillors, the button in front of you does assist record taking. Do I have anyone to speak against? Anyone speak to, for? I'll commit that motion. All those in favour, please raise a hand. Thank you. I declare that unanimous and carried. Just wait for Councillor Douglas to come back in. as we move on to 9.1.5, before we make any comments, back to Councillor Douglas. Okay, it's the monthly report to Council, Planning, Environment and Regulatory Services. That the information contained in this report be noted. Do I have someone to move that motion?
Also move, and I thank council officers. I know they've been operating under a manpower issue for quite a while, and I thank us in the briefing for getting an update as to how that's been resolved.
Here.
Thank you, Councillor Scholes. Do I have someone to second that item? Councillor Leckey. I now, anyone to speak to for, I know Councillor McNeil, you've had your little part, but all those in favour, you can please raise a hand. That unanimous and carried. Which brings us on to 9.2, the community infrastructure, and 9.2.1, the capital works program, roads and drainage. There's a resolution there. The council endorses the recommendation. The council endorses the attached priority list of work and the undertakings of the 2022-2023 capital works programs to limit the limit of approved funding under the various programs: A, the footpath renewal programs; B, the curb and gutter renewals; C, road resealing; D, new footpath construction as attached; heavy patching as per attached, and safety devices; and 2, council requests that the expenditure of the urban road renewal budget be subject to future report to council. Do I have someone to move that motion?
Can I ask a question regarding this item first?
I think the council officer responsible has left the room. The deputy general manager.
It's just a question with the capital works. I'm just wondering how we're going with the seating of it's not on any of the capital works I'm reading, at the cemetery, or the seating for Tommy Gill up at the Victoria Park.
I'll ask through the acting general manager.
Thanks very much, Mr. Mayor and Councillor Bowditch. In relation to the bus stop, council has budgeted for $200,000 this year, and that is one of the priority projects that is proceeding at the moment. In relation to the seating for Mr. Gill, the Director of Property and Places is currently working with that. That is proceeding as well. We expect that work to be done quite shortly.
Okay.
Also move as per the recommendation.
Moved by Councillor Scholes, seconded by Councillor Bowditch. Do we have any other discussion? Anyone speak? Anyone commit to the motion? All those for, please raise your hand. Declare that unanimous and carried. Which brings us to 9.3, property in place, council chambers concept design. There's recommendation. Council endorses the proposed council chambers and related projects concept design to proceed to development application. And I think that if I speak on behalf of all councillors, that we just reflect the comments about the orientation of the seating for the councillors in design. Do I have someone to move that motion?
Yeah, I'm happy to move that.
Councillor Neil?
I'll second it.
Marshall. Do I have anyone to speak against the motion? To commit that motion, all those in favour, please raise your hand. Thank you. Online, I've received that. Thank you. Declare that motion carried. Corporate services. 9.4.1, the statement of business ethics policies and statement. Council provide notice of intention to adopt the reviewed statement of business ethics policy and the accompanying statement of business ethics by placing both on public exhibition via council's website for a period of 28 days. Someone to move that? Councillor Leckey.
Yeah.
Councillor Drayton second. All those in favour, if you could please raise your hand. Thank you once again. I declare that unanimous and carried. 9.4.2, Council Finance Strategy. Council endorses the forward financial strategy as outlined in the report.
I propose just a slight amendment to the officer's recommendation. In item 3, where it says future fund assets are to be sold, it's an option to sell, not to sell. That's not. It's jumping to a resolution before the process starts. And same argument for item 5. It says waste fees increase. Again, it's jumping to the solution before the work to resolve has happened.
I had that in front of me from earlier. So it's
to remove the word increase out of 5, and future arts are to be some future funds be considered to be sold.
So that's an amendment in the report,
Yeah.
not the resolution.
In the report, sorry, yeah.
That can be noted, yes. Michelle, thank you. And to the General Manager, the 2 points, yes, thank you. Now, move that motion, Councillor Sculls, and seconded by Councillor Lecky. Any further discussion? With that motion, all those in favour, please raise a hand. Declare that motion moved and carried. 9.4.3, sponsorship Muswellbrook Race Club, the Mayor's Cup 2022. Council approved the request from the Muswellbrook Race Club for sponsorship of the $5,000 for the 2022 Mayor's Cup.
I've just realised, Mr. Mayor, that I actually have a significant non-pecuniary with that, as I am a member of the Muswellbrook Club. So I better let direct.
Okay, sorry. Thank you for advising. Oh, I just have, sorry, just have to wait until Councillor Sculls. Okay, again, that recommendation is before us. We'll have someone to move in the way. Councillor Lecky to move, seconded by Councillor Douglas.
Oh, sorry. Push me up.
Oh, no, you pushed the button. I apologise. All those in favour? Any further discussion, anyone? All those in favour, please raise your hand. Declare that motion unanimous and carried. And bring Councillor Sculls back in. Which brings us to 9.4.4, which I just have to get to, if I may, on my screen. There's an officer's recommendation for 2 councillors to be authorised to attend the 2022 annual local government to be held on the 23rd to the 25th of October 2022 as voting delegates. 2, arrangements be made for the registration, accommodation and travel to the conference. And just to add a 3 there, if councillors to meet and discuss the motions that are provided for the conference beforehand and make a united determination. Or make a determination. It may not be united, but it's the beauty of democracy. So I'm happy to nominate myself as the Mayor to travel. Do I have any other nominations for the local government New South Wales conference?
I'll put my hand up as well.
So we've got 3 councillors, Councillor Barry, Councillor Sculls, and Councillor Lecky. Okay, you withdraw. So we've got Councillor Barry and Councillor Sculls.
I'll withdraw in favour of Councillor Barry as well.
Okay, so we have the Mayor and Councillor that have withdrawn nominations, and so it's Councillors Reynolds and Barry. With that amendment for number 3, if you have that there. Someone, sorry, I'm just waiting for that 3rd item to be put up on the screen before we commit that. Sorry, Michelle. Did you get that 3rd item, Michelle, about councillors to meet prior? Sorry. Yes, sorry, just that councillors meet prior the conference. Once the minutes have been received by Local Government New South Wales to make joint decision on the motions. Councillors happy with that? Good. Someone to move the motion, Councillor Marshall. Seconded, someone, Councillor Mahajan. All right. Anyone wishing to speak to this motion? Committed. Those in favour, please raise a hand. Declare that unanimous and carried. 9.4.5 is the monthly financial reports. Council notes the financial reports for the month ending 30th of June 2022.
Also move.
Moved by Councillor Sculls, seconded by Councillor Lecky. Any discussion? Commit the vote. All those in favour, if you could please raise a hand. Declare that motion unanimous and carried. Report 9.4.6, reports on investments held as of at the 30th of June 2022. Council notes the council investments as at the 30th of June 2022.
Again, also move.
Councillor Sculls moving, seconding Councillor Lecky. Any discussion? Commit that motion. All those in favour, please raise a hand. Declare that unanimous and carried. 9.4.7, authorised under section 226 of the Local Government Act. Council note the information provided in this report. Councillor McNeil, Councillor Douglas. All those in discussion? All those in favour, please raise a hand. Declare that unanimous and carried. 9.4.8, report on council grant funding and community engagement. Council notes the information contained in the report. Do I have a councillor to move that motion?
I'll move that we note.
Councillor Marshall and Councillor Sculls. Any discussion? All those in favour, please raise your hand. Just want to congratulate staff too on the great work that they're doing there with the grants as well. If you can pass that on, please, Mr. Acting General Manager. And 9.5, community and economy. 9.5.1, community services. The information contained in this report be noted. I'll have a councillor to move in that form.
Okay. I'll second the Councillor Douglas's.
Douglas.
And I commend the library staff with regards to their new display. I look forward on the 4th of August to go down there to utilise it. I think I'll fit the height criteria.
I second that.
Councillor Douglas and seconded by Councillor Sculls. Any discussion? Commit the vote. All those in favour, please raise your hand. Unanimous. Which brings us to 9.5.1, to minutes of committee meetings, which there are nil. Motion of motion, which there are nil. Councillor reports. Councillor Lecky. Just have to push that button in front of you, if that's all right.
I had the pleasure of attending the ALGWA, Australian Local Government Women's Association at Fairfield, their annual presentation. Had a wonderful weekend. Ellen Fanning was the chair, and she did a wonderful job of introducing us to many speakers and to make us aware of many of the problems in a lot of the councils, as well as a lot of good things that are happening. And also identified the number of women that were elected in the last election, which was very stunning. It was a special time for me to catch up with Daria Turley from Broken Hill, who is now the head of local government, New South Wales. We I've had attended meetings out there in previous times, and she's a fabulous person, and I'm sure she'll do very well as the leader. And I think
Yes, Mr Mayor, along with Councillor Maharajan and the Deputy General Manager, we attended the flag raising at Councillor Douglas was there, of course, in Wanneroo. And, well, yeah, and sorry, I did forget. And the council beside me. As well, did attend that. It was a great turnout. Just two other things. I'm not sure if it fits within here, Mr Mayor, but I'd like to beg your indulgence. Auntie Ellen French's birthday was this week. A matriarch of both the Aboriginal community and the community at large. I'd like to acknowledge that. And I'd also like to mention the passing of former Councillor Ray Butcher, whose funeral was yesterday. And he had many long years of service on Muswell Council.
Yes, I agree. Attended the funeral and pass on my thoughts to Dorothy, John, Kim and Robert and the rest of the family. Great man, Ray, certainly was. Do we have any other councillor reports? No? Okay.
I'd just like to support Councillor Scull's sentiments in regard to Ray. He is a great community member, a very long-serving member of the SES, and as I said at the funeral, but great talker. He always had time for everybody. And he was also a good mentor for myself, and I'm sure other councillors when they joined the fold. So, yeah, just like to add that.
can I second that?
I've no doubt that you spend plenty of time with him at work as well, and I'd like to predict that between the two of you there was a fair chat.
Yes, he was also, I forgot to mention, a union delegate worked for a very long time and definitely represented the best interests of the employees.
Certainly did have everyone's interest at heart, and again,
Just one other. I attended the Mount Pleasant NAIDOC ceremony, the barbecue. Well attended, very good day, and so did Deanne Douglas, Councillor Deanne Douglas.
any other councillor reports? Okay, thank you, councillors. Written questions there are, Neil? Questions for next meeting? Yes, Councillor Bowditch.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I'd just like to ask a question with two parts. One, it's about the waste, where we're going with our waste facilities. I've had some questions regarding about the times and the opening times of the facilities, and especially on weekends and things like that. So, first part of the question is, with us only operating at the limited times that we're operating, has that affected our budgets on the waste coming into the facility? And if it has, the second part of the question is that a better option for us than what the overtime we would have paid to have the normal operating hours of the tip going, if it's possible? Thank you.
So that was in relation to operating hours and the business case, essentially, around that with the overshot. Okay, we'll take that on notice and get a report organised. Any other councillors with any questions for the next meeting? None? Okay. Which brings us to adjournment into closed council.
Mr Mayor, for those councillors who have been around quite a few things and remember Ray in council, he traditionally was the person that always moved that we were into closed council. The rest of us actually weren't even game to put that particular thing up. So in honour of Ray, I move we move to closed council.
Thank you, councillor Stiles, and seconded by councillor Lecky. All those in favour, if you can please raise a hand.
Bill,
Thank you, and that moves us into closed council. Thank you, Darren from media. We will be back. We're the only one in public participation here tonight, so we'll be back after the closed council to